Welcome back to the Chaos and Carry-Ons podcast with your favorite hosts, Stephanie.
And Shelby.
Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, Every flight and every ride. Join the journey, come inside.
And today we're going to pick up where we left off talking about our Hawaii trip, what we're calling the Hawaii series.
Yes.
But today we're mostly going to focus on when we went to the North Shore. We actually went, let's back up. We spent a whole day there. I don't remember, was it day 3 of the trip?
I think so. Yes.
And then we did go back just for a half day,
Mhm.
but we really spent just one full day there, and we probably could have spent every single day there.
Mhm. So, if you haven't ever been on Oahu, um, North Shore is obviously the north part of the island, and we stayed at Alani, which is like the southeastern, right? Southwestern, I don't know, the southern part of
Yeah.
the island. So it took us about an hour to drive up to the North Shore. It wasn't that many miles, but there was a
No.
lot of traffic. That was
Yes.
the thing.
But the drive
So
is amazing. Let's put that
it
out there.
it is beautiful. So the day that we went to North Shore first, now we went and drove through there before Derek and Stephanie got to Hawaii because we went a few days before they came. And so we had been up through there, but it was really rainy and foggy when we did. So we didn't get the views until we all went together. And we went early, early, early one morning because we had tickets for a movie tour at Kualoa Ranch, which is where they filmed Jurassic Park, 50 Dates. I don't know. They had so many things that they had filmed there. And we booked the first tour of the day, right? Because we knew because of the time change that we would be like rip roaring and ready to go by 9 a.m.
I'm pretty sure that the tour started at 7, I want to say it was like 7:15 because it was kind of an odd time. But I know we had to get up at 4:30 in the morning, which Hawaii time, which I think it's like they're 4 hours behind. So that was really like 8 o'clock our time. So
Yeah, it
we
wasn't
hadn't,
bad.
yeah, we hadn't completely changed over to their time yet, so it wasn't awful getting the kids up and getting ready. The traffic was really thick going there, but we had the bright idea that we were going to stop at this pancake place first to eat on the way. We did not have time to actually sit down. Like we just ate pancakes when we got to the ranch and literally scarfed them down.
Mm-hmm.
You
But
have
they
to
were
be
the
there.
best
They were. You
pancakes.
have I can't remember how early did you have to be there? It was like 30 minutes, 45 minutes
I think it
early.
was 30 minutes before your time. Your whole group had to be there. So we
Yeah.
all met at, because you had a rental car and we had a rental car. So we met at that pancake place and quickly realized like we're running out of time because of the
Yeah.
traffic. Like it pushed us behind. So we left Derek maybe there,
I
right?
think it
And
was
then
Derek. Yep.
you and Harper jumped in the car with us because we were like, let's just go and act like our whole group's there and he can come with the food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's why we had just by the time he got there with our food, we had like 5 minutes left until we had to be back there to meet for our tour.
Yeah. So that's what I would recommend is just pick up your food. They also had food there that we could
They
have
did,
ate.
but we had no idea that that was
Yeah,
going to be there.
we did not know. So I would just either pick something up or eat there at their little cafeteria. But let's back up. Because in the last episode, Shelby talked about how of what she had a picture of Hawaii in her mind. So when you're driving to the North Shore, that you come through this tunnel, and it's
Hmm.
very pretty driving up to this tunnel.
Hmm.
But once you come through the tunnel, you feel like you are in Jurassic Park, quite literally,
Do
like
you
Jurassic Park.
remember the collective gasp? Because it was you, me, Jordan, and Mom, Taylor, and Harper, I think, in the very back. And when we came out of that tunnel on the other side, I remember us all like, and we
Yeah.
all just looked at each other. Like, It like she said, it literally felt like you were in Jurassic Park. The
Yes.
mountains, but it was kind of like foggy, drizzly rain. I don't know. It was that that is one of my top memories of that entire vacation was that moment right there.
Yeah. So, um, that was when we realized that we should have had more days on the North Shore. I think
Hmm.
because we only had like that one full day planned.
Hmm.
I would recommend that you have more than one day. Like I said, we
Definitely.
did end up going back, but we went back for pictures. But we should have had another full day, I
Hmm.
think, on the North Shore. So one of the things too that we'll say is we planned to use this that's called the Shaka app. We should have started it then. Like before we even came through the tunnel, we should have started the Shaka app. We didn't start the Shaka app until after we came in or we got done with the ranch, but we
Hmm.
really should have started it before because
Hmm.
we were kind of thinking that it was going to help us figure out where everything was and where to go, and it did, but it tells you so much history about the island that we missed
Hmm.
all of that
Yes.
coming in.
So that was one of the most recommended things, I think, in like the Hawaii planning Facebook groups that we were in. Everybody talked about the Shaka app. And I was like, what in the world? Even like my mom's friends from work that had been to Hawaii, they were telling her you have to download the app. I think you had to pay like, what was it, $25 or something for the North Shore loop, because you can
Yes.
pick and choose what parts of the island you're on and maybe even which island you're on. It seems like they did other islands of Hawaii too. Um, but like she said, the history that it gave, like we found things off the beaten path that we would have never known. Remember when we drove to that dead end of that
Hmm.
neighborhood and there was that huge rock out there? We would have never known that that was there. And
Yeah.
that the view from there was beautiful. And we had no clue. If it wasn't for
Yes.
that app, we would have never found that.
So when we got to the ranch and we got on the bus, it was us and one other couple. And that's when we really realized that taking the first tour
Hmm.
was the best thing that we ever did, which actually was not our original plan. I think we were going to take the second or the third tour, but those were sold out.
Hmm.
We did the movies tour. Really, you could do anything there, anything that they have. And they have a list. If you just go to their website, they have so much that you can do. I would have done anything that they had offered. But the reason why we did the movies tour is because Mateo wasn't three, or else we probably would have done the one that was called Jurassic Tour. I think it like took you through the Jurassic sets. But we had to do the movies tour. But still, not nobody was disappointed with that tour. That was one of the highlights of the trip, I think.
It definitely was because at the end of our trip, when we were asking everybody, like, what's your favorite, like, what's the best thing that we did here? Everybody collectively said that tour.
Yes, it was absolutely amazing.
I don't know that it would have been as enjoyable as it was if the tour had have been full like it was supposed to be. I really think us being there with that one other couple, I think that that made it. And it's really because, like, remember the line of people? They were like they were right there, but they were too late to get their tickets. So they were like, well,
Yes.
you're just gonna have to wait. And that bus would have been full. If they would have
Yeah.
been 2 minutes earlier, they would have been on there. But I think that that's one reason why that was as enjoyable as it was.
Yes. So I don't, how long do you think that we spent on that tour? I was thinking it was probably like an hour or so. We could have spent all day.
Hmm. I think it was a 90-minute tour, but I could be totally wrong. But we
Maybe you're right.
stopped like at the Boneyard for Jurassic Park. We stopped there for a good 15 or 20 minutes taking pictures and um I mean that took up a chunk of it just in that part right there.
Yeah. So I would recommend that, especially if you want to do more than one tour, because some people do that, that you would plan to spend your whole day there and then maybe do um, like the food trucks on the way out, which we're going to talk about that. But if you don't do anything else on North Shore, we would both say go to Kahlua Ranch. Um,
100%.
it like we said over and over, it was absolutely amazing. If you want to feel like you're in Jurassic Park, if you want to feel like nobody else is around, do the early tours.
Hmm.
Like she said, that probably was. If you do the Jurassic tour, I think that's only like 15 people, and that was one of the reasons why that we were going to do that one.
Hmm.
But anyways, do we want to talk about how they took us into that? What was it, like a little cave where I
It
guess
was
they
like a
had movie.
bunker.
Yeah, that was like kind of like I'm gonna say that was their highlight of the tour of making it like the movie tour was that you
Hmm.
got to see all these props
Hmm.
from these different movies. Surprisingly, that was one of the kids' favorite things was seeing these show props that they literally had never watched these shows.
No, I don't think any of our kids had seen any of the things that were filmed with those props, but we took pictures. They made us stop and take pictures with every single one of them. I
Like
think
like
they just thought
they
that was cool because it had been in a movie. I mean,
hmm
there's not a lot of opportunities that you get like that in your lifetime. So that was cool for them. Like, let me pose with this truck that's in this movie that was filmed 45 years ago. But they
yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. So I would say that that was one of their highlights. And then when we went, because they did stop, I think we stopped more than once, but when they stopped where the bones were, like that they filmed,
Hmm.
was it Godzilla?
I thought it was one of the Jurassic Park ones, but
It
maybe
may
it
have
was.
been. Well, I just remember they had that gorilla there. Remember? That's why I was thinking
Yes.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
But anyway, when we stopped at that, those two was their highlights, and we had to get pictures with all the things.
Hmm.
She's probably right. It probably would not have been as good if there would have been a lot of people because that bus was big.
It was a
If it
school
would have been
bus, I'm
full.
pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it was. Um, so after that, we were totally winging it. We had no
Hmm.
real plan except for I wanted to go to a fruit stand.
Hmm.
Shelby's mom wanted to eat shrimp at the Giovanni's, which that's iconic to North Shore. If you start planning a trip, that's one of the things that, like she said, the Shaka app. The other thing is going to be you have to eat at Giovanni's shrimp truck. Another thing that they're going to bring up is finding what was that bakery that we stopped at? Now I've lost the name of it.
Ted's. Ted's
Ted's Bakery.
Bakery was the one at North Shore. I have
Mhm.
Leonard's on my list to talk about, but Ted's, in my opinion, Ted's was superior.
It was. So we left from there, and like I said, with no real plan, we started using the Shaka app. And that's when she talked about that we stopped at that neighborhood. I think that was the next thing that we did. And then after that, we stopped at this little fruit stand. And okay, one of the things that Harper had in her mind is I want to go to Hawaii and I want to drink out of a coconut. Why?
Hmm.
I have no idea.
Oh,
But
she
it's
didn't
funny.
stop talking about it.
No, it's fun.
She talked about it every second of every day. We had to get that kid a coconut.
So I don't know why, but apparently this is the thing because some of the Facebook groups that we're still in, like Shelby will tag me and be like, look, here's another kid that wants to drink out of a coconut because
Hmm.
it'll be like a mom posting, where can I find a coconut
Hmm.
for my kid to drink out of? So we stopped at this fruit stand and lo and behold, they had a coconut to drink. So, well, we only got one, thankfully. And Harper took the first drink. Now, Derek was saying, you're not going to like this. You're not going to
Hmm.
like this. No, she had in her mind she was going to love it. She took
Hmm.
one drink and she was like, no, she hated it. So then that became the communion
Hmm.
coconut, and
Oh yeah, we all drank out of it.
everyone tasted it, and everyone collectively hated it.
It was awful. It was horrible.
It literally tasted like dirty water.
10 out of 10 do not recommend. If
No.
you're planning a Hawaii trip and your kid starts talking about wanting to drink out of a coconut, I mean, we couldn't change her mind that she had it. She even had Taylor convinced. Like, remember, that's all Taylor talked about. She wanted to drink out of a coconut because Harper did, and they tried it first. And I have pictures. We'll have to post that on Instagram because
Okay. Yeah, so buy the coconut, but only buy one. That's what we'll say.
yes, definitely.
Because they will not want to drink it. You
Mm-mm.
don't buy them all one. But anyways, at this fruit stand, they had these fried bananas. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Those were so good. That's one of the things that I'll say is the fruit on the island is absolutely amazing. Like all of the fruit feels like it's picked when it's actually ripe, where before, like when you get at the grocery store, it's really like before it's ripe.
Hmm.
The pineapples, I can't talk enough about the pineapples that you're going to have when you go. They are, they taste nothing like anything that you can have here.
No, and I think even if you're not a huge fan of pineapple, you should still try it there. Give it a shot
Yes.
because we ate so many pineapples in the almost 2 weeks that we were there. My mouth was so raw from pineapples, but I didn't care. I kept on going.
Yeah. So after we went to um the fruit stand, then we went to Ted's Bakery, and it was kind of just like a day of, like I said, it was that we listened to that Shaka app. I mean, that Shaka app, I cannot tell you how amazing it was on telling you the history of, like, like we went past a church and they talked about how like how the Mormons came to Hawaii, and that was their church. I mean, just really, really interesting things if you're like a history buff.
Hmm.
Um, and then eventually we came to these little shops, and there was Harper wanted me to bring this up. There was chickens running around there. Do you remember that?
Yes, there are chickens everywhere.
Yeah. And she was saying that that was like one of the like her core memories was the chickens running around that little shop. It was
Hmm.
a cute little shop. It wasn't like anything fancy,
Mm-mm.
but we shopped there for a good while. And then by this time we were going to have lunch, and so when you first come out of Kahlua Ranch, right after that is some food trucks, but if you keep going, I mean, you'll have to wait a while. There's another set of food trucks with the Giovanni um, shrimp truck. I think your mom was
Hmm.
the only one who got it though. The line was insane.
Yes, because it's iconic. Everybody wants it.
Yes. But we all ate different things. Jordan and Harper and Taylor had McDonald's. Let's put
That
that
was the
out there.
most expensive kids' meals I think I've ever bought. I think they were $10 a piece. I'm not kidding.
So we went all the way to Hawaii and they ate McDonald's.
But they both said it was the best McDonald's that they've ever had.
Well, it better have been for $10.
I know, right?
I think we got you a plate with us, it seems
Yeah,
like.
I think it was the Kualoa. How do you say it? Kualoa pork? What's it
Yes.
called?
Yeah, it was the Kahlua pork.
Kahlua pork. That,
So,
oh, it was so good. I don't remember what the name of that food truck was, but I would eat that every day for the rest of my life.
yeah, that's what all the rest of us had that did not have the shrimp. So I would definitely recommend that. Um, the one thing that we really wanted to do that everyone recommends, and it was right after that, was the snorkeling
Hmm.
at what it's called Shark something, it seems like. I can't remember the name of
Is
it,
it
but we
Shark
did,
Cove, maybe?
yeah, we couldn't find parking, remember?
Hmm.
So we didn't get to do that. But that drive, even if you don't go to the ranch, you don't go to the food truck, you just want to drive it, I would just take the drive. There is a free the Shaka app was telling us that and we didn't do it. And then after I got home and researched it, I was really upset that we did not drive through it. But there is a garden that you can drive through and it kind of give you similar views to Kahlua Ranch.
Hmm. I remember
Um
that.
yes, I would highly recommend that you look that up and take that free drive through.
Hmm.
It's like a park, but there was even a koi pond that the Shaka app was telling us to get off. But that's what I'm saying. There just wasn't enough time to do all the things that you could have done. So really, you
And
need to do 2 days.
that was truly the point. Like once we got into that day, that's really when we started saying like, okay, next time this is what we're gonna
Yeah.
do, and
Yeah.
this is what because we knew like this was not a one and done trip. Like we have to
Right.
come back because there's so much that we didn't get to see. And I
Yes.
was there like 12 days, almost 2 weeks, and still did not see and do everything that I wanted to do.
So then our last thing, which you guys went on back onto the resort because we had been up since like 4:30 in the morning. At this point, I think it was probably like maybe 3 or 4 o'clock, probably 4 o'clock. And we stopped at Dole Plantation, but you guys had already done that.
Yes.
So what I have a video, I'll have to post it, of Mateo crying because the line was very long to get a Dole Whip.
Hmm.
And everybody that got their Dole Whip and walked past us, Mateo would start crying because he could not understand why that he was not getting a Dole Whip right then. It was like people were going up there, so why are we not getting a Dole Whip? So that Dole Whip, now I'll say in Disney, I prefer the orange.
Hmm.
But that,
And
like
Jordan
she
does
said,
too.
yeah, like she said, in Hawaii, you have to taste the pineapple because that was literally the best Dole Whip I've ever had. I mean, the orange out of the water, but it doesn't taste anything like the one at Hawaii or the one at the Poly. So if
No,
that's what you're thinking you're getting, you're not.
it's not. I mean, it has similar vibes, but like we already said, the pineapple is, I mean, it's grown right there. It's so
Hmm.
fresh. And I got the chunks of pineapple on mine. I don't know if you did that or not, but that was next level. That
Yes.
was the best. So on our day at the Dole Plantation, we did like the train ride through where we got the tour. Would not recommend that. And there were mixed reviews on that. Some people love it, some people hate it. I mean, it was cool. Like if you're into that kind of thing, it was, here's what a coconut tree looks like at this stage of life and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was very boring and we waited forever to ride that. So after that, we got our Dole Whip and left. I would totally cut that out. I wouldn't do that again.
Yeah, we didn't do that part. We waited for the Dole Whip and we got a pineapple. That was all that we did. We didn't do the little train ride. So by the time we got back to the resort after the Dole, I think it was probably 6 or 7. I think we all just ate at the resort. But this is what I'm going to say. I was absolutely exhausted. Ended up going to bed early, and Shelby texted me and was like, I remember this. I'm laying in bed and I was wiped. She's like, where are you? Moana's out here, whoever it was. I think it was Moana.
It was Moana.
Yeah. Get down here. And I'm like, I'm already in my pajamas, but she was still fine with staying up.
Yeah.
So,
But we also had like a 3 day head start that you didn't have. We were more
right.
acclimated to the time change by then.
Yes. So for me, by day 3, I could still get up early, but I could not stay up late.
Mhm.
She could get up early and she could stay up late.
Well, I'm a different person on vacation, okay? I can go with very little sleep.
Yeah. So the day that we went back to um, North Shore was the day that we had pictures. Now, the photographer and I went back and I was looking at the pictures again. I was pleased with my pictures. I was not pleased with the experience with the photographer. Let's say
Mhm.
that. Shelby wasn't
And
as pleased with her pictures though as I
no,
was.
listen, I'm just going to throw this out there. We have decided that we don't really want to talk pricing on the podcast because which pricing changes anyways. But
Right.
I want to say this. We paid over $1,000 for these pictures, this photo session. And since then, I have one in my hallway of Taylor. That's the only picture that I printed from that photo session. The lady was rude, the whole experience, it was horrible, but it's because of how much money we spent. We had expectations, and
Yes.
I would never do it again. And I see her name recommended in Hawaii groups all the time, and I'm just like, I really badly want to say like, no, don't do it. If you have small kids, I think if you're a group of adults, she would be fine.
Yeah.
But I hated that experience. However,
I,
I want to mention she gave us dinner recommendations when we were leaving. And did she recommend Seven Brothers to us
no,
or
she
we
did not.
found it on
She
the
did not.
way? Okay.
No.
So
No.
whatever it was she recommended, we were like driving that direction, but we came across this burger joint called
Yes,
Seven Brothers
that
that we
I
still
had.
talk about.
Yeah, I had that on like a list. I had made like a list of, I don't know what you want to call it, but the places that I really wanted to eat. We didn't even talk about Ted's Bakery. I forgot about that. Like we never went into that.
We
but
can.
Ted's Bakery and um Seven
Seven
Brothers was
Bros.
on the list. She recommended that place was called like Joe's something, I think. It was extremely expensive. And let's set the scene. Okay. This lady had been yelling at her children, and I'm not even going to say that my children are well behaved. Even the teenager, she was upset because she was hungry, and the photographer was yelling at her for not paying attention. And then Mateo screamed the entire session. He screamed. He did not like taking photos at that time. So what the place that she recommended was like this very, very expensive sit down restaurant. Well, I don't think anybody was in the mood for that at that point. So we started driving in that direction. And I think what it was is I went back to that list and was like, let's look and see if anything on this list is on the North Shore. And we saw Seven Brothers. And I remember calling Shelby and I'm like, we're going to the nearest Seven Brothers. The one that we even went to was like this little hole. It looked like a little hole in the wall. It was in this little, like, would you call it like a strip mall type deal, I
Mm-hmm.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan was like, I don't eat hamburgers, which I did not realize this until the trip I didn't realize how picky Jordan was until that trip
Mm-hmm.
because we spent so much time with him.
Welcome to my world.
So he ate at a Taco Bell that was next door. Actually, so did the girls.
They did.
Everybody was
Taylor,
in
Taylor
a
and
bad mood.
Mateo ate burgers with us, and then
Hmm.
all the adults, except Jordan, had Seven Brothers, and Jordan and the girls
Hmm.
ate Taco Bell.
Those were the best burgers I've ever had. I
Hmm.
cannot explain what those were like.
I
But
still
now,
look at the picture sometimes when I really want a burger. I look at that picture and just I can remember how it tasted. It was nothing like I've ever had here ever. Um, and that's
yes,
going to be my first stop. When I go back to Hawaii, that will be my first stop.
so the buns are almost sweet. It's almost like Hawaiian bread, but not anything like Hawaiian bread. I can't explain it. But didn't you think that they kind of had like
Hmm.
they weren't, people talk about, oh, bread here in the United States is sweet, but I just I can't explain it. I
Well, and
cannot explain it.
everything was made there. Like their
Yes.
sauces, the meat, I think they even like they ground it fresh and like it was all done right there. Their sauces, like even their ketchup, I think was
Yes.
homemade.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
cutting the potatoes right there. They had like a pile of potatoes in the corner, like Five
Yes.
Guys situation where
Yes.
they're like doing the fries right there. I mean, it was so fresh, but we had had such a horrible day with that photographer that I mean, we probably would have acted like this over that Taco Bell too. But that again is one of my core memories of that trip was us like sitting there eating those burgers and laughing
Yes.
about how horrible that $1,500 photo session went.
I mean, we had on these like fancy dresses with
Yeah.
these lays on and the whole nine yards. And here we are sitting in this. I was almost, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bit scared, like, because I think she mentioned that in the last episode. Everybody talks about all the crime in Hawaii and like getting your car broke into and all this. And it was already dark outside. And we're sitting in this little strip mall that did not look nice at all. And
Hmm.
we don't know if we're in a like quote bad part of town. We have no idea. And here we are all dressed up and sitting in here eating these burgers.
Living our best lives.
The good thing was there was a bunch of people in there, so that was making me feel okay. But
Yeah. Well, we were
anyways,
beside that, what is it, BYU or whatever that college is that's there. Like
yes.
the
Yeah.
Mormon college. What is
Hmm.
it? I don't think it's BYU. I don't know what it is, but we were right beside that. So there was a lot of like college kids there.
Yes, there
But there
was.
were
Yeah, there
also a
was.
lot of homeless people outside too.
There was. There was. That was what was freaking me out.
Yeah.
But let's go. Okay, so let's go back because we were talking about what was on the list. So we had Ted's Bakery and we had Leonard's on the list. So we did eat Leonard's, which I had it on the day that we went to Pearl Harbor.
Hmm.
You had already had it when we ate at Ted's. So Ted's has the malasadas and but they also have these pies. That
So hold on a minute, because a malasada, most people are not going to know what that is unless you've been to Hawaii. It's like a deep fried donut. I mean, it's a like a Hawaiian donut is basically what it is, right? I mean,
yes.
that's what they call it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. But it was the one I will say the one at Ted's Bakery, and I don't know why more people don't say this. I think we just got them because they were there. I don't remember anybody telling us, "Oh, the one from Ted's is better than Leonard's." They were so good.
And
And then when
Leonard's
we
were
had
not bad. They were
no,
good, but
no,
Ted's were better.
they were
But to
way
me,
better.
it's like comparing Dunkin' Donuts to Krispy Kreme. Like
I would,
it's
yes,
two totally different, like they were prepared differently. They I think one had like the powdered sugar where one was like a glazed. So
right.
I would compare it to that like that. I mean, they both were good, but Ted's was definitely better.
Yeah, we also Sophia got the was it like a beef teriyaki that came with
Hmm.
some kind of, I think, rice and the macaroni salad. I know I talked about that on the last episode, how that we constantly were eating the macaroni salad, but that was so good. And she even still says that that was like one of the best meals that we had was at Ted's Bakery.
Hmm.
It's this little tiny little shack looking place, and the only place to eat is outside if you're going to eat there, but I would definitely put that on the list.
Hmm.
But anyways, that Seven Brothers and Ted's Bakery on the North Shore were two of the best things that we had. Now, I know that your mom really liked the shrimp truck, but nobody
Yes.
else really ate it except for her.
But I think she also, if I remember right, she also said like it was so greasy. And I think she said like if she went again, I don't think she would have waited in the line to have it again. Like it was good, but it wasn't, I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember her saying that it was good. It just wasn't what everybody has built it up to be.
Yeah. So then the other thing that really stands out, well, first we can talk about because I mentioned it. We did go to Pearl Harbor. That we actually did that on one of our last days.
Hmm.
We got there very early, and I think we spent, what was it, 4 hours there?
Hmm. We were there for a long time. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe not quite four, but we were there for a long time.
So again, so the kids' ages were at the time 2, 5, 10, and 15. Is that right? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Or close. I know Sophia turned 15, and I don't think Harper had turned 11 yet. So I mean, we had a wide variety of ages, and we really didn't know how this was going to go as far as keeping their attention. But the kids absolutely loved that stupid submarine. It was so, if you're claustrophobic, it started getting to me at the end. I think you said it did you too.
You didn't
Because we
even go
spent,
in there. You didn't
yes,
go in the submarine.
I did. Remember, I ended up going down in there because you guys were taking so long. I was like, and it was hot up there. I don't know how that you don't remember this.
No, because I thought you, Derek, and Mom and Mateo like dipped out and me and Jordan took all the kids. I do not remember you being on that submarine at all.
Yes. Remember we had to climb down. It was like you had to take a ladder down in there, and I was like, I am not doing it because it was so small looking. And then I ended up coming down there, and you were like, oh, you came. But that's
I
what I'm
don't
saying.
remember. I have no
Yes,
memory
I
of
started
that.
getting claustrophobic, and so
Yeah.
I was literally like running through that submarine to try to
Yeah.
get to the end.
Yes.
Your mom was the one who took the longest. We were all done, and she still was nowhere to be found.
That was on the battleship.
Yes. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
The
The battleship
submarine
is what.
actually was underwater, and I'm pretty sure none of y'all, me and Jordan took the girls because they wanted to go, but we just went right down and right back up. I mean, we were not
Yes.
there
Yes,
long at all.
I'm sorry. I meant the ship. The ship.
I was gonna say I had no memory of you going in that submarine because I remember you being like hard no, like I am not
No,
doing.
no, because we had already just been on that ship and I couldn't even handle that. So
Yes,
that's
I
what I'm
don't know.
saying. If
Mom got lost somewhere along the way. She was really mad because we just went on. At this point, we had been on there like 2.5, 3 hours. You can do tours. Like there was a guy that was telling us information at the very beginning, but I think we kind of just veered off and went on our own.
we
But
did.
that we took so much time on there. Um, but me and Jordan took Harper and Taylor and we kind of like just like did a speed tour. We went through it really fast and I have no idea what happened to everybody else, but we all found each other eventually.
That's what I'm saying. It was like at different parts. Like I remember that I started speeding through it because I was like, I cannot do this. Like, and you're down there for what feels like forever in this
Hmm.
ship, though.
Hmm.
And then, so we sped through there and we got to what we thought was the end. And then we met up with you. And then you were, at that point, you were like, I'm over it and I got to get
Hmm.
out of here. So then you guys passed us and we were trying to wait on your mom. I think she also was similar. She like got lost. And so then we were just like, forget it. We're just going to go on.
Hmm.
She was the last one to come out.
Yeah, I
But
remember texting her like, "Where are you?" And she's like, "You left me." I don't know why she wants to go on vacations with us.
telling you that is Sophia and her both should have stuck together because they both want to take pictures of everything that we passed. We were like, we
That was
cannot do
the
this all day,
problem.
guys.
This is what you need to know about my mother. She will stop on a crowded street like Disney World. She'll stop right in the middle to take a picture of the castle that she has had that picture on her phone up 1,800 times, but she's got to do it every single time she goes. Then she gets mad when we keep walking because we don't know she's stopping. We're already to Tomorrowland and she's mad because she stopped to take a picture. And you know
Well,
how it is when our moms try to take pictures, they have to tap on the screen and like they can't just snap it and go. It's a whole situation. So
well, I
yes,
have
that's exactly what happened to her because she was
yes.
stopping to take pictures of every tiny thing.
Yeah, and then I even have so many photos of Sophia, like even at this table in the ship, which I have no idea what this table represents or anything. And it's like probably 20 photos of her sitting at this table. And that's just how it was. Sophia wanted to take pictures of everything, and Jennifer wanted to take pictures
Hmm.
of anything, of everything. So by the time that we got to the, what is it, the plains, we practically
Yes.
ran through there because we were ready to
Hmm.
get on with it.
Hmm. Well, it started raining too,
So we left, but if we would have actually taken time through that museum, we probably would have been there for 6 hours.
at least. Yes. We
So I
were
would
like
say
hungry by then. We
yes,
were all getting hangry. It was
yes,
hot. We were
yes,
just all done. I'm
yeah,
not that big onto history. Jordan loves history, and I will let him read all the things, and then you just give me like the Cliff Notes version later. I liked seeing it all, but I'm not going to stand there and read every plaque. And he
yeah.
does. He wants that. And so 3 hours in, I'm like, okay, I've seen enough. I'm done. I'm over this.
So I think we all collectively agreed we were glad we went to see it. It's one of those things like when somebody talks about it, you can be like, I saw that, I went there, but
Yes.
I don't think that we would do it again, at least until
Hmm.
Taylor and Mateo got old enough that they would really remember it or wanted to do it.
It also had, I will say, I don't know if you felt this way or not, but it had like a somber feeling.
Hmm.
Um, I've been to New York and went to Ground Zero, the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, and it has a very similar feeling to that. Like it's just really like eerie and like a heavy feeling. Pearl Harbor had that too, but I got over it really quick there because there was just so much to do and see, and it was less about like the death and more about like how they lived on those ships and stuff. So
Yeah.
I will say that. Like I felt like it had that somber feeling too, but not as bad
Yeah.
as New York.
Yeah. Because we didn't even take Mateo to the memorial that they had out in the middle. You had to take like a little ferry too, because it was very much like a funeral vibe.
Hmm.
And he was over it at that point. So after we went to Pearl Harbor, you guys, Shelby was tired at that point. And which let's say this was actually before you were diagnosed, but if you remember, you kept making little comments that you had
Hmm.
been very tired lately.
Yeah. I
So,
had cancer then. I just didn't know it yet.
yeah, so Shelby went back to the resort, I'm pretty sure, to eat
Yes, we did.
lunch. And we stopped at this place that was called, I think it was Anna's Diner. Kind of seems like that was it. It was apparently this very iconic diner that they had all, like they had them everywhere. I think they even had some like in California, and this is the last one is there in Hawaii. If you like a diner, I would highly recommend it. It was probably 5 minutes from there. And we ate there, and right outside of there is a Leonard's. So the
It
setup
was
there is
Anna
really good.
Miller's. Anna
That's
Miller's.
it.
I knew
That's
that
it.
there was, I had to Google it because I couldn't remember the name.
Yes. Yes, the pies are really good. Now, it's not like anything specific to Hawaii. It's just if you love a diner vibe, and I do, then I would recommend it. And to eat at the Leonard's that's right beside there if you haven't had the malasadas yet.
Hmm.
And then we went back to the uh the resort. I think we're gonna have to cut it here because it's gonna get too lengthy.
Yeah, and
Um,
this episode is probably making everybody really hungry because I think all we've talked about is food.
so on the next episode, we'll talk about when I think she mentioned the secret beach. We'll talk about we had a spa day and we haven't talked about that yet.
Hmm.
Um, what else is there that we still haven't covered?
We've got several things that we did around the resort, but we also hiked Diamond Head, so I was going to talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
Um, and a cabana.
Oh,
We rented a poolside cabana for Mother's Day, so I wanted to
yes.
talk about that too.
Yes. So also on the next episode, we're going to have a little, well, we'll do a little teaser, but how we always end with a high and a low, we're going to let our kids tell you
And
what their
husbands.
high, yeah, tell you what their high and low was of
Hmm.
just the entire trip.
Hmm.
So let's end it out. My high and my low, we'll say mostly North Shore, not
Yeah,
Pearl Harbor.
yeah.
Um, I think the high was, I really want to say Kahlua Ranch and when we
Hmm.
were on the bus, but really, I think it was when we came through the tunnel.
Hmm. That's exactly what I was going to say. Those two things collectively. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say.
Aside from meeting seven brothers on the North
Yes.
Shore. The low, I think, was when I realized how much that I had spent on those stupid pictures and Mateo was
Hmm.
not going to cooperate.
Hmm.
That was a low point for me. I remember
Um,
because well, the photographer actually was a little bit like, remember when she was telling you, I think Stephanie's upset. And I was like, duh.
yeah. So I agree on the highs. The ranch, the movie tour, that was awesome. Definitely a high. But I think coming out of that tunnel and that view of North Shore, that those mountains, that was it for me. It's like Moana. It literally looks like you're in Moana.
Yeah.
And that was definitely my high. My low, I can't take yours with the photo session, but that honestly was a low point. I think my low was just how much traffic there is and how long it takes to get around North Shore. You have to
Yeah.
drive very, very slowly, and I mean, it's a pretty big island. So I think that would be my low, is just how long it takes because you could do a lot more if you could get there quicker. So I
Yeah.
think that's my low as far as North Shore goes.
Yeah. I mean, really, there could be, it's hard to pick a low because there was so many highs. Even
Yeah.
like, I mean, I could even say eating at that fruit stand.
Mm-hmm.
The views are pretty everywhere on North Shore. I think it's just because when I called her, because we were riding behind each other actually. We weren't together when we came through the tunnel. But I was asking you how long are we going to be in this tunnel? We already knew that we were running late. And I just remember her just all of a sudden just gasped. She's like, you are not going to believe it when we come out of this tunnel because you were just a little bit ahead of me.
You're right. I
Yeah,
thought that we were all together, but we were all together when we got to the ranch. But we were
correct.
on the phone when we came out of that tunnel. That's when
Yes.
everybody collectively gasped.
Yes. We had no idea that that's how that was.
No,
We really
no clue.
we really went into it North Shore stupidly.
Hmm.
We had the places, but we hadn't like looked at pictures really. Um, but yes, I think it's because it was the surprise aspect of we had no idea that once you get over there, that it's going
Hmm.
to look totally different. We were picturing what we were at Alani carrying over into there.
Hmm. And it was
So
not. It was
no,
not at all.
10 out of 10.
Yes, for sure. May your flights be on time and your luggage never lost. But if not, that's where the fun begins. Bye.
Bye.
Pack your dreams, grab your bag, Adventures call, let's zig and zag. From castles tall to ocean waves, magic made for wanderers brave. Theme parks light up the night, starry-eyed in sheer delight. Board the ships that sail and see, endless tales and fantasy. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside. Pixie dust beneath our feet, through the lands and sea we roam. Feel the wonder, feel at home. From rope drop to the fireworks show, lose yourself in the joyful glow. Cruising waters, feeling free, every twist's a memory. Chaos and carry-ons, let's go. Disney dreams in tow, you know. Every flight and every ride, join the journey, come inside.